Welcome to the Stevia Show. It's a Stevia Show. Helping you expand on what you know. Throw in a meme of the week and a review of the screen. And to have a show that covers everything.
Hey Team Stevia, and welcome to episode 125 of The Stevia Show, a talk show podcast that covers pop culture, world news, local artistry, and everything in between. This is Steven, and Lydia is away today, and joining us today is Hailey Rogers from Hailey's Book Blog. So how you doing today, Hailey?
Doing great. How are you, Steven?
Doing great. Thanks for coming back on the show. Hailey's been on, she's been on before, but that was like episode, 5?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a very long time ago, so we're very happy to have Hailey back and talking everything about books. And we would like to thank Alec Beeson for episode 124. We learned a lot about photography, and we hope he had a great time shooting the show on the 28th. So thanks again to Alec for showing up and, teaching us all about photography. It's great. So we're going to go ahead and get our funding out of the way. So funding for the Stevia Show is brought to you in part by the following. Today's episode is brought to you by Bravado Wireless. Bravado Wireless is your go-to when it comes to all things connected. Summer is here, and so are some hot new deals on hot new devices. From now until August 31st, you can get $350 off a brand new iPhone 12 or half off a Samsung 20 FE for new customers as part of our new premium data plan. For more information, call your local Bravado Wireless store or head to bravadowireless.com. And we are also supported by community members like you, including Hailey. She's one of our producers, and you can support us on Patreon for as little as 99 cents a month. Thank you. All right. So, hey, Hailey, welcome back to the show. Let's hear about your book blog. Let's tell us all about it.
Okay. So my book blog is at Hailey's Book Blog. Pretty easy to remember. There's really not a whole lot going on right now on the blog. I'm learning that it is difficult keeping up with content. If you want to be a content creator, you have to be very intentional about it. So I'm kind of learning the steps right now on really kind of what to do and what content looks cool and what people actually want to learn about and read about and everything like that. So
cool.
Yeah, so I'm learning. It's a learning process.
Yeah, right on. And I like how on your book blog, how you engage with your followers. Like you'll post on your stories, like did you read it or if you loved it or not and stuff like that. So that's really neat how you'll engage with your followers. So Hailey, when did your love for reading start?
I was really young when I started to love reading, elementary age. I had a teacher probably in the 3rd or 4th grade, and she was my reading teacher, and she was the one that really presented reading to me as like an escape. And that's when I fell in love with reading, and I've just never stopped since then.
Gotcha. Yeah. See, I never developed a love for reading, and I wish I did sometimes because I know, like growing up watching Reading Rainbow and stuff like that, take a look, it's in a book and you can, butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high. Like I've never really felt that when reading. So that's cool that you've fostered that at a very young age. But how do you develop a love for reading? Like, do you have to have a good imagination or what skills do you have to develop a love of reading?
I think you need to find what you like to read or what you like to learn about or what you like to escape into. Because I think everybody would really like to read if they would just find what they want to read. I mean, that's a huge part in it. And really, you just got to kind of try different things out. And then like Kaysen as a great example, he will not read books. So weird. He won't read books. Well, I guess that's not really weird, but it's strange to me. He won't read books, but he will read so much content on Reddit or on Sooner Scoop or whatever. So he's reading all day long, but it's not necessarily books.
Right.
So just kind of whatever content you like to read about.
Okay, so it counts, and so as long as you're reading, it counts. So if I'm reading like the news and stuff like that, I do have a love for reading. I just don't necessarily like fiction books.
Sure,
I like nonfiction. Okay, that's cool. That for sure makes me feel better. It makes me feel like less of a Neanderthal who doesn't like to read. So what kind of books do you like to read, and how have your tastes evolved over time?
I pretty much like everything.
Okay.
I would say like my go-to genres are like romance, maybe like rom-com type books or like contemporary romance, that genre. But I also love psychological thrillers and mysteries, and I also love fantasy. So I like a little bit of everything. I don't really discriminate against anything, so I like pretty much everything. But yeah.
So did you start with a certain genre, and then did that evolve into all the other different genres? And which one did you start with?
Definitely just like general fiction.
Okay.
But I would say when I really kind of cultivated reading as like a hobby type thing, I was really into like YA dystopian type books. So Hunger Games, Legend Trilogy, Divergent, those types of books. That's what I was like really using reading as like escapism and loving. I still love all that stuff. So
nice.
Yeah.
Cool deal. So Hailey, have you ever wanted to write your own book? Why or why not?
I have thought about this.
Ooh, okay.
But I don't think I'm creative enough to like write my own story. I just don't think I'm creative enough. But I've always thought about writing my own book. I don't really know what it would be like, but I see a lot of TikTok, like book talkers.
Book talkers. I like that.
Talk about like all of the books that they like and what they're reading, and they post their reviews and things like that. And several of them that I follow and engage with, they are writing their own fantasy series right now, which is really cool. So I've always thought, I was like, oh, that'd be so cool if I could do that. I just don't know if I'm creative enough to do it.
I'm sure you are. I mean, especially, with your love of books and things like that, like you can definitely, like, I'm sure you've, felt, what it feels like to escape to different worlds and stuff like that and how to describe that to other people. I'm sure you can do it. So would you do a fantasy book, or would you do more of like a YA book, or?
Oh, I don't know. Probably something fantasy. I don't know if I would stick with like high fantasy. That would be the hardest thing. Is if I went like the high fantasy route,
right?
World building and creating all of that. That's why I'm like, oh, I don't know if I could really do that. But maybe something low fantasy where it's set here, but you have magical elements, something like that. I don't know.
Gotcha.
Maybe someday.
Gotcha. So do you review books on your book blog? And if so, how do you score them? What's your scale?
Yes, I do. My scale is 1 to 5. I really kind of use the Goodreads method of rating books. 5, of course, is like awesome book, loved it, would read again, recommending it to everybody that I know. 4 is like, oh yeah, it was good, I really enjoyed it. 3 is like, it was okay, like nothing spectacular, but it was still good. 2 is like, didn't really like it. 1 is like,
Gotcha.
Did not like it at all.
Didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, do you ever like start a book and then it's just so bad that you couldn't finish it?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't do that often. I don't DNF, do not finish. I don't DNF books a lot, but yes, I've definitely done that. It takes me about 100 pages in before I will be like, okay, like I'm going to commit to this book. There are some though that I'm like, this is terrible, but I've already committed 200 pages, so I'm just going to finish it.
Right. Because you might as well, if you put the work into it, you might as well finish it. So that totally makes sense. So what is your favorite book that you've ever read? And then what is your least favorite book that you've ever read?
Oh, that's so hard. My favorite book, I am obsessed with Colleen Hoover. She's a author. She primarily writes contemporary romance type books. So literally anything by her, I automatically give it a 5-star because she's just amazing. I love all of her books. She has this, which is a little bit different than what she normally writes. She has a psychological thriller book called Verity. It might be my favorite book.
Okay.
It's crazy. And then there's also one called Ugly Love by her, which is a romance novel. Also very good. So I don't know. Those may be my favorite books, but that's so hard to ask. Like, there are just so many good books out there. I don't know.
Right. So on the flip side of that, what's your least favorite book that you've read and that you've committed to? Or do you have one that you remember that you didn't finish that was just so bad?
Yes. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this.
Okay.
But To Kill a Mockingbird, no. I didn't even have to read that as a high schooler. I read it as an adult because Kason was like, I can't believe you've never read To Kill a Mockingbird. Like, we had to read this in high school.
Yeah, we did.
You should read it. And I don't know. I don't know. skipped that, or I don't know what happened, but I never read that book. And I understand the importance of it. It's literally like a classic. I get that. But oh my, I was bored to tears the entire time.
Gotcha.
There's another book I read this year too, which I always feel so bad if somebody recommends a book to me and I end up hating it. Which is what happened with this book that I read this year. And my friend was like, oh, it's amazing. I cried. It was so good. And I read it and I was just wanting to throw the book the entire time. I was like, this is terrible. I hate the characters. So it wasn't great. Yeah, so, and I've also this year, I've only DNF'd a couple of books, but there was one book that I didn't finish that was recommended all over the place on Book Talk, and it was like a spicy, smutty gang mafia book that was everywhere, and everybody was like, it's so crazy, it's so spicy, the spice level is through the roof, whatever. I was maybe 50 pages in. I was like, this is trash. Nope, done. I just quit that one early.
Gotcha. So how on Book Talk, how do they tell, or get across the information whenever they review things? Because TikToks can only be a minute long, right? That's the max. So how do you get all of a book down into 1 minute on Book Talk?
Oh, there's a lot of ways. There are so many creative people out there. I've seen a lot of reviews that are just exceptional, and they do it in the framework of first person telling. So something to the effect of, I showed up at my brother's house one day to see a random man laying across his front door. He wouldn't let me get in the door. I tried to get in. Turns out blah 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 blah. And then they're like, and that's Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. And so it's really cool when they do reviews like that. And then other reviews are kind of those really fast-paced, they show an image of it, and they give their rating, spice level, or however they want to do it. So there's a lot of really creative people out there, and that's how I got a lot of the recommendations of what I've been reading this year is from Book Talk and Instagram.
Gotcha. So have you ever wanted to do Book Talk?
Yes.
Okay.
I have a TikTok account. I've made a couple of videos, not anything in relation to books, primarily my dogs. But yes, I have wanted to do Book Talk, and I have some sounds saved on TikTok for some potential content that I could create. But it's a little scary putting yourself out there like that. And everybody in the book community is always really accepting and want to invite you in, and are really engaging and everything like that. But it's still a little scary putting yourself out there to be like, this is who I am, and this is my bookshelf.
Right, presenting yourself to the world. It's definitely that's kind of like with podcasting too. It's hey, now everybody who listens knows what I sound like, knows what Lydia sounds like, and stuff like that. So it is definitely weird at first, but I think once you get used to it, I think it's definitely a lot of fun. So I'm hardly ever on TikTok. I know a lot of people convince me to download it, but I think it's just because I haven't found my right algorithm yet. And I don't know what it is. I follow a lot of local bands, and I follow you obviously and stuff like that. But how many different interests are on TikTok? You have Book Talk, you have what other kind of talks do you have?
There is literally everything. My algorithm is so niche and specific to who I am as a person. It is honestly a little terrifying because it is crazy. My algorithm is Book Talk and home decor and LGBTQ stuff and it's a little bit of everything. It's a little scary how very niche and I'm oh, this is hilarious, or oh, that is so me. And Kaysen even says, Kaysen's that's because he can listen to me. I just watch it on the couch and scroll through there for hours. Kaysen's it's a little scary how true that is to you as a person. I'm yeah, really weird. If you download the app, just know that you will probably get addicted.
Which, I do have the app. I just hardly ever use it, which is weird.
That's the thing, yeah. If you get on there and just start scrolling, once you have the right algorithm, you'll be on there for hours. You could do all sorts of Stevia content on
Oh
there
my gosh,
too.
yeah. Lydia's our TikTok captain, so we actually have a TikTok, and Lydia's the one who posts all of the stuff on it because she does it for her stream.
Oh,
so
nice.
I just don't think I get TikTok. I think it's because I'm almost 30. That's probably what it is.
Oh, I'm on millennial TikTok too.
There's millennial TikTok?
Yes.
Okay.
And it is, I'm also on like pop punk TikTok and elder emo TikTok.
I'm on elder emo
Yes.
TikTok and on regular like Midwest emo TikTok.
Yeah,
and that's
same.
a lot of fun.
Same, because I follow like some of the local bands here and stuff, so I get
Mm-hmm.
they're on my feed and everything, and yeah, it's pretty fun.
Right on. So I know we kind of answered this earlier, but how many pages does it take you to decide if you like a book or not? Is 100 your pretty standard one?
Yeah, it really depends on how long the book is. I'd say most books I read, especially if they're going to be in some type of a series or not, probably are around 500-ish pages. So it's like 100 pages is a pretty good indicator. If it's anything shorter than that, it kind of just gauge by how long the book is, but it's like 100 pages.
Gotcha. That's not bad. So in that 100 pages, is that where you get like enough of like the rising action and stuff like that to know like if like the climax of the book's going to be any good or not?
Yeah, it really just kind of depends. Like if once I'm reading it, if I'm not interested or disinterested or nothing has happened at that point, I'm like, okay, like, come on, pick it up.
Gotcha.
What's going on? I've read several books this year that are the latter part of a series, and nothing will happen for like 500 pages. And I'm just like, what is happening? Nothing is happening. And then finally something happens, the last 200 pages of this 700-page book. And I'm like, am I going to read the next one? Probably.
Right.
And I'm going to probably feel the same exact way, but I can't stop.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. So Hailey, are you a member of any book clubs?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I am in, so me and a handful of my sorority sisters, we have a book club, and we've just kind of done fiction books this year, just whatever's popular. And we meet every other month, and we'll do dinner or brunch or whatever and discuss the book that we've been reading. And it's been really, really fun. And I'm also a part of, you may need to edit this out.
No, you can go ahead and say it. No, you can go ahead and say it.
Thanks to TikTok, I'm a part of this book club that has like, I don't even know, 20,000 members. There's a ton of people in this book club. But it's called Mocks and Cocks.
Okay.
So like mock, like drink. Yeah, anyways, it's like a smutty book talk type of book club. It's quite interesting. But that's what I'm doing right now. And then I read a lot. I do a lot of buddy reads with my friend Peyton. So we kind of have our own little mini book club.
Oh, nice.
And go through fantasy series together. And it's been really fun.
Cool. Right on. And are those book clubs, so one of them meets in person and then the other one's virtual?
Yeah.
So how does the virtual one work? Do you have like virtual meetups and stuff like that? Or are they all reading different books? Like how does that go down?
Yeah. So we have a giant Discord server, and everybody's in there, and there's a bazillion different channels for all of your different interests. And I mean, yeah, people are just talking there 24/7 about the books that we're reading and things like that. And there's a monthly book that we read, and you can join the Zoom call, whatever, every Sunday or every other Sunday. So it's pretty cool. We have like a master document of all of the books with any information that you would want to know about it, which is really nice because you can refer to that if you're looking for something to read that has a specific trope or a specific page limit or whatever. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. That's awesome. So how many books have you read this year, and what is your goal? Because I know, just knowing you personally, you hit your goal, or you exceeded your goal. So what was your original goal? When did you exceed it, and what's your goal now?
My original goal was 52 books this year, and I've never really tracked how many books I've read in a year. And I thought, oh, that would be really fun. Like, that's the whole reason why I started the Instagram page, is so I could basically just document what I'm reading this year. And so I was like, oh, I'll just track what I'm reading. So my original goal was 52, and I finished that in like March.
Oh, wow.
And so I was like, okay, I'll extend it. So I extended it to 150, and then I was like, oh, no, we'll just do 200. Like,
Okay.
round it out to 200. So I'm at like 130-ish.
Oh, so you'll
right
definitely
now.
hit it.
Yeah, I think I'm
nice.
going to hit it. We'll see. But I think I'll pretty safely get to 200 books by December. So that's where I'm at. But that's, the whole reason why I started the Instagram page, just because I wanted to document my journey of what I'm reading throughout the year. It's been really fun.
Awesome. So I know some people like using audiobooks or ebooks, but I know there's probably some people in the book community who are like purists and it's like, no, you have to use paper books, so is there anything wrong with using audiobooks or ebooks? Like, does that make you any less of a reader?
No.
Okay.
And this has been a controversy on, Instagram and Book Talk and everything. And, this is I feel like this has been a controversy for years and years and years, that people are ableist and they say audiobooks aren't real books. And I'm like, yes, they are. You're still consuming that same content. Like, it's a real book. I listen to books all of the time. Mm-hmm. I love audiobooks, especially when there's a stellar narrator. Love audiobooks. Read tons of ebooks. I have a Kindle. I have an iPad. So I'm always reading ebooks. And then, of course, I have real hardback and paperback books. But yeah, you're no less of a reader no matter how you consume the content.
Okay, well, that's good to know. That's for sure good to know. So how important are our local libraries?
I love the library.
Okay.
I love the library. I utilize an app called Libby, and you link your library card to the app, and then you're able to check out ebooks, magazines, audiobooks, and then you can also check out the actual tangible book, and then you just go pick it up at the library. It'll be on reserve for you. Mm-hmm. It's amazing. The app is a game changer. So anybody that is a reader and wants a way to easily access books, get Libby. Okay. It's great. There's other apps too, like Hoopla and Overdrive, that are very similar to Libby. I think Libby is just the most user-friendly version of it. Okay. But it's amazing. I love the library, and so does Kaysen, so I'm not spending a lot of money buying more books. But I've been able to get a lot of really popular books that are pretty expensive to buy. I've just checked them out from the library this year, which has been great because I'm saving money. But also, that's another thing. Like, there are two hobbies here that I have. One is actually reading and, enjoying that. And my second hobby is buying books. Oh, okay. So it's two hobbies that are kind of wrapped into one. I like to go buy books, which is my separate hobby, and then reading them. My TBR pile is out of control. Okay. It's a mess.
Gotcha. How many books roughly are in your to-be-read pile?
Ooh, probably physical books, probably 100-ish. Oh, wow. Okay. And then on my Libby, so on Libby you can put holds on books, and then whenever they become available, you'll get a notification. Then you can, that's nice. You can check them out. Okay. Which is really nice. And then you can create lists on there. So you can create a list for fantasy books that you want to read or nonfiction or whatever. And you can create those lists. So I have lists on Libby that are different than my physical TBR pile, which is different than my Goodreads list. So I have a lot of lists everywhere of what I want to read.
Gotcha. No, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. So Hailey, do you plan on starting a website soon for your book blog?
I don't know. I've never really thought about it. I mean, maybe if I ever got really into my Instagram page and it really took off and I made more friends in the book community and did whatever, maybe so. Or maybe if I ever did think about writing a book, then I would create a website to promote that. Gotcha. But I don't know, maybe someday.
Cool. Right on. And then the last one we have for you before Stevia sound off is, how can people find your book blog?
Instagram at Hailey's Book Blog.
And that's Hailey, Hailey.
Yep.
Perfect. Just want to make sure, because there's some Haileys that are Hayley, like Hayley Williams from Paramore. Oh, my girl. Yeah, she is the GOAT for sure. So we're going to go ahead and head into Stevia Sound Off, which is a section where Team Stevia sends us questions and takes, and everyone on the show will respond to them. We post a weekly thread on our Instagram story and our Twitter, and we have a dedicated channel on Discord. So let's see what we have this week. So I ask, if you were a Disney villain, which one would you be and why?
Scar.
Ooh, why Scar? Scar's brutal.
Yes. I feel like Scar is very type 8. I'm a type 8 Enneagram type. Maybe he's not. I don't know. But that's what I feel like he is. And Lion King is also my favorite Disney movie.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay, so that's cool. I would be Captain Hook.
Nice.
He'd be my Disney villain. Because I feel like he's just trying his best, but like bad luck always happens to him, like with the crocodile and like the clock and stuff like that. So I feel like if I were to ever be a bad guy, like I would just run into like a bunch of missteps. And I just like Captain Hook because he's just, I don't know, he's crazy. He's cool. Yeah. So Professor J-Tag wants to know, favorite character from a book you've read this past year and why?
Ooh. Oh, there's so many good books that I've read though. I have read... Okay, one, it's by Taylor Jenkins Reid. It's called Daisy Jones and the Six. It's not a recent book. It came out a few years ago, but the book is just so unique in that it's told in like an interviewing perspective. So you don't have, paragraph. It's all dialogue in an interviewing perspective, and it is so cool. And Daisy Jones is just this really cool, like rocker, like 60s, 70s vibe. It's really cool. So I loved her and that story. And then I've also read a series called The Zodiac Academy, which is kind of like a bit of a spin on, it has some Harry Potter vibes. It's very good, but it follows the story of these two twin girls, Darcy and Tori, and they're Geminis, and they go to this school called the Zodiac Academy on this different planet. Anyways, they are both really cool characters too. So,
rad.
Yeah, I liked both of those
Gotcha.
stories.
Gotcha. Professor J-Tag also wants to know, why do young adults get all the best fiction and fantasy? Why don't us regular adults get good fantasy? And if we do, how come it's not advertised better?
Everyone asks this question all the time, I feel like, about the YA category. And more recently, there's been a new genre that's been introduced, and it's now called new adult, which it has more. I feel like YA is categorized as YA because the characters are that age range, so like 16 to 24 or something like that. And then the new adult kind of books are really like 20s and beyond, I guess. I don't know. But yes, this question comes up, I feel like, a lot on social media. It's like, why is everything categorized as YA? And then a lot of people are kind of shy away from that because they're like, oh, young adult. Like, I'm not a young adult. I am an adult.
Right.
And there is no shame in that. I love a good YA book that you can just jump into, and it's easy to read and it's fun. And yeah, no shame in YA.
Gotcha. Right on. So Kayleigh wants to know, a first sentence of a book is supposed to draw your attention. Is there a book where you can remember the first sentence in because it drew you in?
I've already talked about this book today.
Okay.
Verity by Colleen Hoover. I will recommend it to anybody that wants a good psychological thriller. The first line of the book, this is a little gory.
Oh, go ahead.
But the first line of the book is, I hear the crack of his skull before the splattering of blood reaches me. And that's
nice.
The first line, yes. And the book is incredible. I read that book in one sitting at my kitchen table. I was like, I'll just sit here and read a few chapters. 3 hours later, I finished it. And
nice.
I've told everybody about the book. I'm like, you have to read this book. It's the craziest thing I've ever read. Read it right now. So I've forced all of my friends to read it, basically.
Okay. And do they all like it?
Yes. And they all are like, this is the craziest thing I've ever read. It's nuts.
How does that feel whenever you recommend a book and somebody likes it? Like, I feel like that's a really good feeling.
Yeah, it's a good feeling, and it's nice because you can talk about it with someone,
yeah, good point.
And you can vent about what happened in the book, which a lot of the times I'm like, Kason, you want to know what's happening in my books? And he's like, sure, like, go ahead. And then he just, he's like, and I'm like really excited about it. But when you have a friend that reads the book with you, like me and my friend Peyton, it's just so much fun because you get to talk about the book along the way and the characters and theories that you think are going to happen. So, yeah.
Nice. So Kayleigh has 4 other questions, so we're going to go through those. So what is your favorite show based on a book or series?
Harry Potter.
Okay, I knew you were going to say Harry Potter.
Yes.
Gotcha.
I reread the Harry Potter every single year. All the books. Love it. Been a fan since the 90s.
Gotcha.
When it came out.
From the very beginning.
Yes.
From the very beginning. So what's the most overhyped series?
I don't really think there is such thing as books being overhyped. I feel like if a person is like, oh, this book is so overhyped, whatever, it's not really overhyped if there's a bunch of people that like it. Just because you didn't enjoy it doesn't make it overhyped. It just makes it something that a lot of people enjoy, and you're just mad that you don't like it, you know?
Gotcha.
So I don't really find anything to be overhyped, really, at all. Mm-hmm. Everybody has their own prerogative, and, you know, everybody likes different things.
Yeah,
so
that's a good way of putting it. Everybody has their own prerogative. I like that.
Yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. So Kayleigh also wants to know, what was your favorite book growing up?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter? All right. And then your favorite book series?
Harry Potter.
Harry Potter, gotcha.
Along with that, I really love the ACOTAR series, which is A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Zodiac Academy, which I talked about earlier. From Blood and Ash series. And all, like, ACOTAR, Zodiac Academy, From Blood and Ash. These are all uncompleted. So I've finished what's written up to now. And now I just have to wait. And it's the most grueling thing ever.
Oh no, yeah, waiting does suck. When you're waiting for a new, just like a new anything from a series you like.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Yeah, for sure. And then Kristen Darth Malden writes, how do you find so many books that you like?
Really just recommendations from Instagram and Book Talk and just my other friends that reach out that read and know, you know, what's kind of popular right now. And I mean, I found just in this past few years of just kind of reading more now that I'm out of grad school. Praise the Lord. Yeah. I have time to do stuff.
Right.
I've really found the genres that I can really jump into and that I know that I'm going to like. So just easy to read romance books and psychological thrillers and fantasy series that I can get sucked into and feel like I'm like this badass heroine, you know, main character type thing. And then
character vibes. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then that like becomes my entire like life at that point. I am that person once I'm in that book. I'm like, oh, this is me. I am her. We're in this journey together. And then when I finish it, I get sad because
it's over.
Major book hangover.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Awesome. Well, that's all the questions we have for Stevia Sound Off. So Hailey, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about your book blog or about reading in general? Readers are leaders. Aw, okay. Yeah. Love it. And the book was always better. And the book was always better. Gotcha. Yes. Gotcha. All right. Well, Hailey, thanks again for being on the show. We really appreciate it. We will see you all next time on episode 126. And be sure to follow us on all the social media platforms with the handle @TheStevia_Show. And be sure to subscribe to the podcast on whichever podcast app you listen to. If you're on YouTube, search for The Stevia Show and subscribe with the notification button. And be sure to check out our streams. We stream at least once a week. Streams can be found on twitch.tv/LidWins and twitch.tv/STVN92. And thank you for the following for supporting The Stevia Show. Today's episode is brought to you by Bravado Wireless. Bravado Wireless is your go-to when it comes to all things connected. Summer is here, and so are some hot deals on hot new devices. From now until August 31st, you can get up to $350 off a brand new iPhone 12 or half off a Samsung 20 FE for new customers as part of our new premium data plan. For more information, call your local Bravado Wireless store or head to bravadowireless.com. And we are also sponsored by community members like you. Remember, you can support us on Patreon for as little as 99 cents a month. Thanks. Awesome. Well, Hailey, again, thank you so much for taking the time to be on the podcast today. We hope everybody enjoyed talking about books and learning more about books and developing a love for reading. And also, go get a library card. Even I have a library card, and I don't ever read. Yes, it's so easy. You can just go to the library's website, put in your information, then you'll get a library card. Yeah. All you need to do is visit the library one time to confirm your identity and your address, and that's how easy it is. So, nice. Yes, support your local library. Always. All right. Well, Hailey, thanks again. And for now, this is Steven. And this is Hailey. And we will see you all later. Bye. Bye.